I did want to ask you about that too, Laura. In your personal life that you've written about in the books, it seems like some of these people get approached or they approach you in your circle, and they obviously like wreak havoc based on what they do, and they approach as friendly, and then they kind of will have all of these actions they end up taking against you and try to end up ruining you, which is really sad. What are these people consciously doing this, or do you think they're commissioned from the other density to be like these like Agent Smiths, so to speak, where they're like directly trying to throw you off this path that you're on of discovering and publishing information?
Well, in a couple of cases, it was direct and conscious, like an MI6 agent.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there was, and I even wrote about it. There was a group of people who were on kind of like a truth and whatever network, and they approached us and offered us money and so forth if we would join up with them. The only condition was we had to give up any connection to any of our esoteric work. Give up, remove all of that from the web. I mean,
Remove it from the web.
yeah, I was supposed to, remove it from the web, just let it die a death, and then I would be taken care of for life, and I would be part of this elite circle. And then I wrote a series about a group that was peripherally involved with child trafficking, or maybe not so peripherally, and they were on the net, with a whole bunch of new agey stuff, and that's when things started really getting, like all the lug nuts on my car were
That's
loose.
crazy, by the way. Yeah.
My fence was cut. Um, I was in I told you we have a market in the town every Thursday, and I went to market to buy vegetables and stuff. And there was a really strange guy, and he kept looking at me. And then I turned around, and he was taking pictures of me. And then there was cars following me, and weird stuff. So for a long time, and probably still most of the time, I never go anywhere alone anymore.
No,
Knowledge,
you can't. Yeah.
I don't go anywhere alone anymore. And the kids really, really protect me. They don't let me do anything, and my husband really protects me. So um, I'm taken care of in that sense. And but it's been weird. And there have been some others that I'm pretty sure there were some black magic types. There have been several of them that were sent in, pretending to be just, something that they weren't. And then they just go all, crazy, and then they start attacking. It got so bad that this group of attackers that were just defaming me in an insane way ended up writing complaints about me to the French police, and we got called in for police interrogations. And I mean, I was in there for 6 hours being interrogated down at the police station in Toulouse, and my husband was interrogated. We had to go every day for like a week because they were interrogating different people in the house and so forth. And the questions they asked made us know where this came from. Because and it was ridiculous. I mean, like, they told him I was wanted by the FBI. I was wanted by the Pasco
In
County,
France.
and they actually contacted the FBI and the Pasco County Sheriff's Department to find out if there was a warrant for my arrest. The woman finally admitted to this and said, "Well, they said no, that they have nothing." And all the other claims that they made, were just completely false. And they wanted to know where my yacht was, and what other bank accounts. Did I have offshore bank accounts? Yeah, all this kind of stuff. And God, it was insane. It was so stressful. So we just, made photocopies of every bit of documentation we had. And it was a whole suitcase full. And the girl took it down, to show to him. And this, of course, came in conjunction with a fiscal audit which led to a 2 or 3 year battle because I appealed to the IRS because, I'm not afraid. I file my taxes and I file
Yeah,
tax
exactly.
declaration. And we had 2 or 3 years between the IRS and the French fisc fighting it out. Finally, the IRS caved. Yeah, how convenient that was. And then the French, charged me this enormous tax and penalty, which we ended up having to pay off over a period of time. I mean, it was so much we couldn't even pay it all at once. And then, well, yeah, it's been real. It's been real.
It's funny you just said all that because we've all undergone extortion for whatever reasons. But I mean, just the fact that we're paying the IRS or the French, whatever, and all these different companies just proves that we're just slaves. As Charles Fort said, that,
Yeah,
this is somebody, the earth is a farm and we're someone else's servants or property. I mean, it's a fact. Well, Hunter and I have this funny thing, Laura, that we say we've been playing this game for each other for years now. And I have another friend in Los Angeles now who just literally finally left California and moved to Nashville. But we would play a game with us. I mean, it's going back 2 decades. What is not a scam? Tell me what on this planet that is monetized is not some form of a scam when you break it down to its base essence. And it's like when a person becomes aware of all of this, you realize what Charles Fort realized. You realize what all of us have realized. You realize what other highly sentient, aware beings become, that this is a setup for fourth density to literally feed off of us energetically and sometimes even physiologically, depending on the decisions that we make and the level of awareness that we attain.
it's true. And I'll tell you a couple of a story just to give you an example. Tom French and Cherie Diaz did
Yep.
the article, right? And they had pictures in it. These people took one of the pictures of me that Cherie Diaz had photographed, and it was published in the St. Pete Times. And I was sitting in a chair drinking a cup of coffee. Back in the days when I could drink coffee, I can't drink anymore. Anyway, and they published it on a website of defamation and claimed that there was me drinking whiskey because I'm an alcoholic. And then
You're
another,
an alcohol. They said you were an alcoholic.
they said I was an alcoholic, and I've been, for years. I mean, I'd have a drink once in a while, like New Year's Eve or something, a little champagne or whatever. And once in a while, depending on what's going on, if something really stressful happens, I'll take a shot of whiskey, but it's not like, maybe 5 times a year it happens. But before that, I was a teetotaler for like many, many years, many years. And that was my Christian upbringing. I even got upset when I married my husband and he wanted to put beer in the refrigerator. Poor guy. But yeah, so when we came to France, my husband's friend and co-author of a book on hyperdimensional physics, he lives down in Marseille, and at the time he was the director of CIRM, which is the Center in International Research Mathematiques. And he invited Art to come down and give a presentation at a conference. So we went. While we were there, he invited us privately, him and his wife, to go out to dinner. And so we went, and then we got in their boat. They have a little, like one of these Zodiac things, they're like the big rubber things, with a giant motor on the back, speedboat.
Mhm.
And we went out to some island off the coast of Marseille where there was a restaurant. We had dinner and we came back. And anyway, at the time, I was trying to keep all the readers up to date on what we were doing. So I wrote about this trip to Marseille and what a nice time we had. And we went on this boat ride with our friends and had dinner at a restaurant, described the food, travelogue. Well, that within days, that appeared on the defamer's website as me screwing my minions and going on a luxury Mediterranean cruise.
Screwing my minions. I love it. Today,
Yeah.
what's funny, Laura, is now today, if that story was today, they would do like they would do what do you call it? Like a clipped profile of that with transcription, screwing over her minions with a
Yeah,
picture of a
exactly. It'd be like a
minion
news
coming
with like
on.
the captions, the auto captions and everything, like
Well,
a short reel.
A short
having
reel with minions.
kind of treatment gave me a real taste for it. I mean, in the sense that I can smell it when it's being done to somebody else.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's, when I see it being done to somebody else, I know it.
Which
I
also
wanna,
begs the question too, Laura, how many of these people have the time to go do this? Because it's almost like a full-time job. I would say it's a
It
full-time
is.
job for them.
It
And
is.
who are they getting paid by to be able to do that?
And some of them apparently made a full-time job out of it. So they were obviously getting paid to do this. So I think that in a certain sense, I think some of them were conscious from a third density level that they were being paid by somebody, maybe the CIA to
right.
defend me because they don't want people knowing what the C's are saying. They don't want people to know what I've written. They want to defame me and make people have this knee-jerk reaction, cult, cult, cult,
Right.
or
Well,
Ouija,
Laura, this
Ouija.
is this is very important what you're saying right now because I've already told you this, and Hunter knows because I've shared it with him personally. But very, very well-known people in the quote unquote alternative esoteric truth community who know me, who I've had conversations with. This is going back a while now, and I've completely stopped talking to them. They brought that up. Oh, she's a cult. You're a cult leader.
No,
Like, I mean, I literally went back to these people like, what are you talking about? Have you read their books? But that's the problem is, I mean, read your books and
they
read your
haven't
work.
read books.
Of
Or
course.
read them and they know that nobody else should read them because it might wake them up.